I forgot to click
We're
record
good.
before, so I apologize. So we're good now. I clicked record.
All right. Well, thank you and good morning, everyone. And Karen, yes, it's been a long time, and I'd like to say that you have been a great resource for me. Um, Anytime I needed anything, you've always been there to encourage me and to just help me out. And I really appreciate that. And so I'm very honored to speak to the educators this morning. And, today, so I'm going to be talking about teaching and learning in outdoor spaces. This is very odd for me to be talking to almost like no one, but I know you're out there. But um, so it's going to be a little challenge for me this morning, but I'm going to do my best. So, teaching and learning in outdoor spaces, I just want to say that educators, you are, oh my gosh, you have had to pivot probably more than most of us. And just want you to know that we really appreciate you. And as an educator, I truly, truly look up to all of you because you have some challenges ahead. And our students, our children really need you. And just thank you for being there. And so I just like to start with my son Bryce. Um, my son Bryce in third grade, his teacher, Mrs. Johnson, contacted me and wanted to take him on an Audubon birding trip. She saw something in him that his love for animals and nature, and she wanted to introduce him to birding. And I just want you to know that that one trip led to so many opportunities for him. It really opened up a whole new world for him. And as educators, I that's what we're here to do, is to inspire our children. And teachers, you already have everything that you need because you wouldn't be a teacher if you didn't already have the compassion and love for learning and teaching our children. Um, I know for me, in middle school, I had great science teachers. I can just remember Miss Gaylor and Mr. McKee, how they would allow you to just be yourself. And to me, that's what nature does. It allows you to be yourself. You don't have to be anything special. You don't have to be a great speaker. You don't have to be great at math. You don't have to be, you just are. Nature provides that for a lot of students that may be struggling in other areas. And so this is a place where those children can excel. And I think that nature, you can use that in all subjects. I think of the one of my favorite poems by Joyce Kilmer, and the poem is titled Trees. And the line in the poem says, "I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree." And that right there, to me, says it all. You can use nature in literature. You can use nature with math. You can use it for counting, for sorting, for art, for sketching, for drawing, for painting. Um, Even nature, you can use it for physical activity to create games, simple games such as just tag and Simon Says. But children need that time outdoors. So every opportunity you have, no matter what subject you're teaching, if you can incorporate nature into it, children really enjoy that. I like creating scavenger hunts for children. And as simple as an egg carton, you can use egg cartons to use for collect. The kids can use those for collecting materials that they find outside. And I tell you, children cherish that egg carton like it's a treasure chest because these are things that they have found outdoors that are interesting to them, and they're able to keep those things in the little treasure chest. I think that a lot of times, uh, adults, we kind of fear nature, and that's okay. I think it's important that we talk about our fears in nature. So a lot of people are afraid of insects, but why are you afraid of insects? So talking to our children and helping them work through their fears about nature is a good thing. And also, it's important that we share our fears. You know, I have a fear of snakes, not so much anymore. But what I learned is that if I'm the instructor and I'm afraid of snakes, that's not going to work too well. So I learned and educated myself more about snakes. And the things that I was afraid of were things that weren't going to occur because they were just myths that I'd grown up with. So I think it's important to talk about our fears and let our students know that we also have fears, but we're gonna, as your teacher, that you're going to protect them, and that is why they follow the instructions and we keep them safe. The other fear I think teachers have sometimes is because they don't know everything, and that's fine. None of us know everything about all subjects. And what I always explain to my students is that we're going to learn to, and I think that that is a great approach because what I find is that my students are more eager to learn and share with me things that they think that I may not know because students always like to have the one up on you, of course. Um, also with nature, I think the biggest thing is just curiosity. Curiosity sparks so it can lead you so many places. Um, and I think it's very important that we encourage our children to be curious and to explore different things. And so if you are um, struggling with how to use nature in your classroom or with your students, the internet is the best source, of course, because there's so many things out there. You don't have to create a lot of things. There are so many different uh, platforms to use. I like using Project Wet, Project Wild, Project Tree. There are just so many things out there. And I've noticed that sometimes when children would come to me for field trips, especially older students, I would like for them to use their cell phones, and the teachers would have taken the cell phones from the students. But I encourage them to use the cell phones because there are apps out there that will help the students, such as iNaturalist, which is an awesome app. All you do is take a picture and load it up, and it will tell you what you're looking at. And a lot of times when we're in nature, we see things and we're curious, and there's no way we can know it all. So if we're able to use that app to tell you what the purple is or that insect is, that is very helpful. Um, One of there are lots of benefits also to playing outdoors, and we know that it increases your creativity, and also it decreases attention deficit just symptoms. Also, it helps with large motor skill development. Believe it or not, I had a group of students a couple of years ago, and these were fourth graders. And one of the things we were doing outside where we were just standing on a log. And believe it or not, it was very difficult for these students to balance themselves on the log. And that's because our kids are not getting enough physical activity. I know as a kid, for me, my mom would say, get outside, period. And if you stayed inside, she had chores for you to do. Nobody wants chores. So getting outside was a great escape. So when you're using nature, um, and I do this with my family. I raised two young boys, and I just started exploring nature, of course, just first outside your door, and then your local park, and then state parks, and then national parks. And so I graduated over time to the larger parks. And one thing that I really enjoy doing is visiting the same green space during different seasons because you're going to see different things. So a lot of times people think, well, it's wintertime, there's nothing to see outside. There's lots of things to see outside. One of the things I like to point out, which is the most obvious, is that the leaves have fallen off the trees, and now you can see the nest that the squirrels have made. So that's something, that you don't see in the summertime because the leaves are on the trees. And so also in the springtime, I want to encourage the students, possibly a small garden at your school to be a window garden, just something that the children are taking care of and tending to and watching grow. And then if you're thinking about summer, that's the obvious, just get outside and play. But right now we're in the fall, and what I was looking
You're not
for,
watching TV with the headphones.
uh, we will be looking for migrating birds or the leaves changing color. And what was really interesting to me is to learn that the leaves already have all the colors that they present in the fall. It's just that we think that the leaves change colors. They really don't. But I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to leave that for you to explore more because I think that's very interesting when kids learn that. Um, the hmm, when we talk about, I was saying that you have everything you need to teach outdoors. Outdoor learning, mostly what I use are like a ruler because I think it's important to measure things. I also think it's important to have a tablet and something to write with because it's important to write, basically journaling, and also keeping track of the weather, the time, what's going on that day, um, just things like that. Um, it's so hard to talk when I can't see anybody. So I'd like to wrap it up and say that you may, I remember I was a Girl Scout leader for nearly 20 years, and I remember taking my first Girl Scout training. And after the training was over, I asked one of the ladies, I said, how do you know that you're doing it right? And she said, oh, the girls come back. And that's so true for teachers also. How you know you're doing it right, your students come back. They may not be in your class any longer, but they'll come back to check on you each year. And as they become adults, they will also come back to find out and let you know what they're doing and the impact that you made on their life. You may not realize a lot of going to school is so much better than being at home. So it's important that we create these safe spaces. And that's why I say I really appreciate you teachers because a lot of students They just need that extra that you are giving them, and to spark nature learning in a student can be a lifelong enjoyable experience for them, and also a place where they can just be themselves. Thank you, and I'm ready for questions.
Yvonne, we had one person that said, "We're out here and we're enjoying hearing you, even if you can't see us." And my dear, I know it's difficult. We need the engagement, don't we? We need to see facial expressions and watch body movements. I know. Oh, I'm there with you. Does anybody have any questions for Yvonne this morning? Of any of the things that she was talking about? Especially the part, because like I said, Yvonne has sat there. She's led hikes with Keeping It Wild. She's done camping trips, right, for folks that have never been camping before.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, the camping trips that you've done, how many of the people end up to where maybe they want to go on a second or third or even fourth camping trip after, or some of them like that was not for me?
So one of the things that when I started out camping, I made sure that we would only camp 2 days at the most at first. In that way, if people needed an out because they didn't have experience, or they had a bad experience, or they didn't bring something that they really needed, they could have an out. And then as we camped more, people wanted more days. So again, that's how you know you're doing it right, when people are asking for more.
Oh, I agree too. And I know that you started the new thing where you're coming up, it was your Davis in Arabia, your ranger hikes that you're doing. Are you traveling back up to Atlanta to do that?
I am. So I'm the host of Junior Ranger Ramble, and I just thought it would be better if I was in the space that I was talking about.
Is that one?
So that's why I'm traveling.
Yvonne, is that something that's open, like to the public, like they can click on the link and be able to watch your program?
It is. So basically what I'm doing is each week is for 6 weeks. I'm introducing a different part of the Arabia Mountain Heritage Area. And so I'm encouraging people to go out and explore that area. And if they can't come to that area, no matter where you are, you can go out and explore maybe your local park, a state park, or maybe even a national park if you're lucky enough to live near a national park. And even your backyard, that's fine. Just getting outside.
That is such a good resource. So I would like to actually be able to share that link, especially for our teachers that are teaching digitally, those that have the virtual students, and give them an opportunity. But so many of the schools, we can't go on field trips anyway. So that may be a good resource for both the face-to-face teachers and those that are doing. There's a couple of questions that are over here, and I'm going to scroll up, and it said, someone has asked, can you tell us about one of your favorite environmental ed events that started to go bad and turned out well?
Well, so I already told you I have a fear of snakes. And I have a group of students, and the teachers are along also. And one of the students spots a small snake. Harmless. But I turn around and all of the teachers are gone. They have left me, they have left the students. So I have to explain now at the very beginning of our trip, our encounters, is that we don't want to run off because you don't know the forest where I am. and you could actually hurt yourself. And I also informed the teachers. I said, remember, you are supposed to be protecting the students. So it worked out in the end. The snake went on its way and we went on our way.
But that was a great teachable moment. I do have, Tixie is actually
Yes. And also,
oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say I had another question for you. Yes.
So we're talking about the students not being able to go on field trips right now. So one of the things that I find very handy is I use animal cams online. So the student and this zoos all over the United States have these animal cams. So you can just bring them up online and check out the animals at the zoo, which is really cool.
I typed that in the
So it's almost like a virtual field trip.
That is a very good resource. So I did type it in the chat box so it would be listed after with the recording. Okay, so your other question that is here is from Tixie. She goes, what are some tips for engaging high school girls outside who've never camped before?
Yes. So number one, we have to talk about our fears. And again, you have to let them know that you have fears also, but we're going to face our fears together. I think it's very important, and also progression. We can't just decide that we're going camping tomorrow. We have to do baby steps. Yes, we're going camping in August. So in May, we're doing different things to progress towards the camping trip. And that may be also just a trip to your outdoor store, REI, and just to get some cool gear. Just encouraging them and just don't throw them in the deep end of the pool.
There is a comment.
And I
Dawn
think
said
that also for the girls going camping, this is what I always tell the guys that want to take their girls camping. Let them bring whatever they want, but they have to carry it. Because a lot of times girls think they need their curling irons and all of that. Let them bring it. They'll see that they don't need it.
That's a very good tip. Yvonne, Dawn has Dawn made a comment here. She said, Yvonne, you have such a calming voice. I'm sure your students appreciate this quality if they are nervous around insects and animals. And I agree with her completely. You do. You always have a calming way about you.
Thank you. You know what? And it's funny because a lot of times I'm just as scared as they are. But I know as the instructor, I have to be calm to keep my students calm. Think about that day when we went to the snake and the adults left. What if I had left too? That would not have been good. So it's something that I've learned to do. It didn't just happen overnight. Please believe it. And you're talking about my calming voice. My husband would probably disagree.
Oh, well, Yvonne, I have to thank you. We do have to wrap it up because in 1 minute we're going to start our next sessions. But please, everyone, we are so grateful for you starting off and for all that you do around the great state of Georgia and beyond. And so remember, this is pop in, pop out today. So that's the glorious part of doing it this way. Oh, Mercer's giving you got applause there. Yay, thank you. I agree. I agree. Mike is too. So we are
on social media. So you can look me up on social media, Ranger Yvonne on Facebook and Instagram. If you ever have questions or just need a resource, I'm here. Come see me. I'm on the Georgia coast and it is beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks everyone too. So now you've got your links for the next sessions. And so we're going to have those recorded as well. I'm going to stop the recording on this one. Oh, you're getting all kinds of accolades over here, my dear. Yay, I agree. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording so everyone can go refill those coffee cups or get another, glass of orange juice or something. And we are good to go. Let me see. Stop. All this is new to me as well, Yvonne.